The vines surrounding the sanctuary continued to decay, their once vibrant energy fading into brittle emptiness. The sapphire's power was still at work, slow, relentless, consuming everything within its reach. Akanisha could feel it in the air, a pull, subtle yet undeniable, a quiet hunger that did not belong in this world. The White Witch, her silver eyes narrowing, lifted both hands, stretching them outward as if reaching for something unseen. Akanisha held her breath, and then something materialized. It did not appear in a burst of magic. It did not emerge from the earth or descend from the sky. It simply was. A floating vessel, woven from Frenim. Akanisha's eyes widened. She had never seen Frenim before, but she knew what it was from whispered tales. Even before the White Witch spoke, she understood. Frenim, a material crafted from multiple realities, from a realm where magic and science fused. It was not forged. It was woven into being from pure light, a craft known only to forces beyond the mortal realm. It could contain energy, hold it without decay, without corruption. It was the only thing capable of trapping something as powerful as the sapphire. Akanisha felt her heart pound as the White Witch's voice slid through the air in a whispered incantation. The air shifted. A soft hum vibrated through the sanctuary. And then, the sapphire rose. Lifted by an invisible force, it floated weightlessly, turning in slow rotations as it drifted into the Frenim vase. The second it touched the vessel's walls, the decay stopped. The dying vines halted their retreat, their curling, withering forms freezing in place before springing back to life. The trees no longer trembled, the air stabilized, and the sanctuary breathed again. Akanisha exhaled slowly, watching as the sapphire, now suspended in the vase, continued to pulse softly. It was still alive, still waiting, but it could no longer drain life. The White Witch lowered her hands, but something was happening. The Frenim and the sapphire were not remaining separate. Slowly, deliberately, the two opposing forces, the hunger of the sapphire, the restraint of the Frenim, were being woven together, reshaped, reformed. Akanisha narrowed her eyes as she saw its new shape begin to take form. A ring? The sapphire had been part of her gauntlet in her visions. Nonetheless, a ring will suffice, she muttered. The sapphire embedded itself at the center, its deep, unnatural glow settling into dormancy. It was no longer an object of pure destruction. It was something else now, something unfinished, something that would wait. Akanisha did not move, she did not speak. She only watched because she knew it was not yet time. But one day, the ring would call to her, and she would have to answer. That night, as the air in the sanctuary settled, the White Witch came to Akanisha looking distressed. Akanisha had never seen her like this before. The woman who had always been calm, knowing, untouchable, now stood before her uncertain. Her silver eyes flickered, her hands clasped tightly, as if she was holding something too heavy to bear alone. She spoke the words. "It is time." Akanisha turned, her brow furrowing. For what? The White Witch lifted her gaze toward the depths of the forest. Her voice was low, almost reverent. "I do not know, but Ygrethel Kazuran summons you." Akanisha's breath hitched. She had never heard that name before, yet something inside her recognized it. The White Witch lowered her eyes. "I am but your guide. I serve you. You will hear these summons yourself in time, but for now, they summon you." Akanisha swallowed. A part of her wanted to question it, to deny it. But deep down she knew. She had always been walking toward this moment. She turned without another word, and they walked. The further they traveled, the more the trees seemed to lean in, their leaves murmuring in a language Akanisha could not yet understand. The shadows shifted strangely, time lost its meaning. They walked for what felt like hours, or perhaps only moments, and then they reached it. Akanisha stopped breathing. It was unlike any tree she had ever seen. Its bark was midnight black, its surface covered in symbols, shifting patterns that seemed to form every earthly language, some deliberate, some only visible from an angle. The branches stretched high, twisted, knotted, as if struggling to contain something too vast, too impossible for this world. And at its heart, a wound. A deep, open wound of liquid silver, seeping from the core of the tree like the blood of something ancient. Akanisha did not need to ask. She knew. She was meant to taste it. Her heartbeat quickened. The White Witch stepped beside her, watching closely. Her voice was quiet, but it carried weight. The sap of this tree does not grant visions alone. It is a catalyst in a chain reaction, and the visions are its side effect. Akanisha tensed. Then what does it do? The White Witch's silver eyes gleamed. As one of its functions, it unwinds the threads of memories. Akanisha felt a shiver run down her spine. Memories she did not yet have pressed against the edges of her mind. Her body seemed to know, even if she did not. "And if I am not ready," she whispered. The White Witch did not blink. "Then you will go mad, insane, your mind twisted. It could take years, even decades, and for mortals, many reincarnations to cleanse the genes and the mind. But you are strong, O Ancient One, and I do not fear for your harm." Akanisha inhaled slowly. She could not turn back now. She had come too far. Her hands did not tremble as she stepped closer to the tree. The air around it was thick, buzzing with something beyond time. Her fingertips brushed against the bark, and at her touch, the tree shivered. The wound deepened. And then, a single drop of silver sap slid from the wound, dripping down the creases of the bark. Akanisha caught it between her fingers. The liquid was thick, cool against her skin. It glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the beating of her own heart. She glanced once more at the White Witch. There was no fear in the woman's eyes, only expectation. Akanisha clenched her jaw, and then, without hesitation, she sucked in the sap. The effect was instantaneous. Akanisha's vision blurred. The forest tilted sideways, the trees bending unnaturally, as if the very fabric of reality had been undone. She reached for something, anything, to steady herself, but the ground beneath her vanished. And then she was falling, not through air, not through space, through memory, through time itself. A storm of voices, incantations, and fragmented thoughts rushed into her mind. So many. So fast. She could not piece them together. Her breath hitched. Her body trembled. Something inside her was shifting, unlocking, unraveling. She spoke words she did not know, a language that flowed from her lips as if she had always known it. But she hadn't. Had she? It was not mortal. It was not human. It was ancient. Or perhaps it was the language of the gods. Her mind splintered between past and present, unable to tell which was real. Deep within her, the Etherion strain pulsed, a slow, rhythmic awakening, not forced, not hurried. It had always been there, lying dormant in her genes, disguised as pseudogenes, introns, intergenic DNA fragments, waiting for this moment. The sap of the tree had summoned her, not because it wanted to show her something, but because it wanted her to remember. The hidden truth was that such vast recollection of eons of memory was only possible because of the Etherion Code, a god code that continued to this day to find and absorb information from the past, present, and future, in every dimension and all alternate realities. And this code, it wanted to bring her, the Mother of Venom, back to herself. Akanisha's eyes widened as something crashed into her consciousness. She saw herself. But it was not her as she was now. She was older, stronger, a warrior, draped in the banners of an era long past. Her body moved differently, not like the girl standing before the tree, but like a seasoned warrior, a conqueror who had seen 1,000 battles and won them all. Her dreadlocks coiled like living serpents, striking down enemies that surrounded her. Her arms moved with precision, wielding a weapon she could not yet name. The battlefield stretched before her, an ocean of chaos, screams, blades clashing, a storm of shadows and fire, and at the heart of it all, her, a force, a goddess of war, a legend carved into the very fabric of existence. And beside her, the King Viper, but not as he was now, not dying, not weakened, but immortal, powerful, divine. His form shifted between two states. One moment, a serpent of impossible size, his scales glistening like molten gold. The next, a man, a warrior king, standing tall beside her, his eyes locked onto hers with unbreakable loyalty. They moved as one. A dance of death and destruction. A war they were destined to fight together, but against whom? The battlefield flickered, the details fracturing as she reached out, desperate to hold on to the vision. She needed to see more, to understand. And then the memory shattered. Like glass, 1,000 fragments spinning into the darkness. Akanisha gasped, reaching for the vanishing memory. Her hands grasped at nothing. Her mind screamed in protest. She needed to hold on to it. She needed to know, but it was slipping away. A force too strong for her to fight was pulling her backward, pulling her away from the past, away from the truth. She was falling again. Faster. Harder, through time, through space, through the very fabric of reality. The weight of the unknown pressed down on her, suffocating, crushing. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Her body trembled violently. And then she hit the ground of nothingness. Hard. A force like a collapsing star slammed into her, knocking the breath from her lungs. Her body convulsed, a tremor of raw energy coursing through every cell. Her mind screamed. 1,000 voices, 1,000 forgotten names, 1,000 echoes of a past she did not yet understand. The world blurred, and then everything went black.